For there is always light, if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Words taken from a poem, The Hill We Climb. Words recited by Amanda Gorman at the inauguration of the current President of the United States. It's good to be back. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Michael Allured, and I'm minister with Golders Green Unitarians in northwest London. I invite you to be still and to gather yourselves, to notice your breath, its rise and fall. Let's take a few moments to settle and become intentionally present. As we breathe out, let us lay down our distractions. And enter into a time where we have the space to nurture our whole being. Welcome to all who have gathered this morning for our Sunday service. Welcome to those of you who have gathered in person at Essex Hall, and to all those of you who are joining us via Zoom from far and wide. And to all who are viewing on YouTube or listening to the podcast at a later date. For anyone who doesn't know me, as I say, my name is Michael Allured, and again, it's so good to be back with you all today and to have the music that we have to enrich our time together. This morning, we're making space for each other to reflect on aspects of courage and resilience, qualities we all surely need sometimes, perhaps often, as life's wind blows us about. In our strength and in our fragility, we are gathered here. We gather online with our joys and our woes. We gather here in person, each with our gifts and each with our failings, aspiring all to be our best selves. May we be present with open minds, loving hearts, and outstretched hands. We light in a moment our chalice flame as we gather. As we gather each time we light this flame, a simple ritual that connects us in solidarity with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over. A flame that reminds us of the proud and historic, progressive religious tradition of which we are part. Spirit of life, as we light our flame, we invite you into our hearts to guide our giving. Bless us in our voices as we pray for those in need. Bless us in the circle of hands that we hold, what we shall give. Speak to us in mind and see us through your sight as we look to the vision in the grace of our giving. May we give unconditionally so that our little today is someone else's plenty tomorrow and in the days to come. Let's sing together now the words of our first hymn. Help us in our reflections on today's theme, courage and resilience. May the words touch hearts and heads. Number 98 in our purple hymn books. And for those of you joining online, the words will be up on the screen. Please stand or sit as you prefer. We're moving now into a time for prayer and reflection. Words interspersed with drops and pools of silence for your own inward reflection. This will be an extended time of prayer, perhaps 5 minutes. You might want to adjust your position for comfort, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a few moments to find the posture that helps you feel comfortable and more aware. Do whatever you need to get into the right state of body and mind for us to pray together, to be fully present here and now in this sacred time and space, with ourselves, with each other, and with that which is both within and beyond us. Spirit of life and love, in whom we live and move and have our being, we turn our full attention to you, the light within. and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and stillness at the very center of our being. This morning, we consider courage and resilience. We give thanks for the ability to begin again after the disaster, after the tragedy, after the loss, after meeting the challenge set before us. Grant us the courage to continue on the journey, the courage to speak up for the well-being of others, ourselves, and the planet. May we forgive each other when our courage falls short, and may we try again. Grant us hearts to love boldly, to embody our faith and our values in living words and deeds. May our hearts open to embrace humility, grace, and reconciliation. Grant us the ability to learn and grow, to let the spirit of love and truth work its transformation upon us, within us. Grant us the space, the spirit of hospitality, the willingness to sustain a fit dwelling place for the holy that resides in all being. Grant us a sense of being at peace in the world, even as we are in motion. May we cultivate together the strength to welcome every kind of gift and all manner of ways to be on this journey together. We gather each Sunday with hearts full of life's sorrows and joys. We try to make sense of life in general, often our own lives in particular. We long to find light to counter darkness, goodness to stand up to evil, generosity in place of meanness, connection and companionship, not isolation and despair, compassion over unkindness. We long to find hope and healing poured out through the hospitality of hearts. Spirit of the universe, of our hearts and many names, be with us now. If you're holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to say their names aloud in the coming moments of stillness. And if you are online, please type your names in the chat box on Zoom. In our naming people, in our hearts, may we hold them in our thoughts and our prayers this morning. We give thanks for all those who bring us joy and pray for the safekeeping of those whom we hold in concern. For all those names spoken and unspoken, put in our chat box. May they be surrounded by the loving kindness we offer them today and in the coming week. We reach out with open minds and hearts to all who are suffering because of war, famine, being homeless, poverty, and the many other injustices and cruelties that humankind and sentient beings endure. But there is hope. There is goodness in the world. And where it is found, may it be nurtured. Where it is planted, may it bring comfort. Where it is given away to another, may it spread hope. For all the named and unnamed we hold in our hearts, let the candles that burn here in this space send out light to a bruised and aching world. Amen. Our first reading.
You'll see in your order of service, it suggests this is inspired by Winnie the Pooh. Today was a difficult day, said Pooh. There was a pause. Do you want to talk about it, said Piglet. No, said Pooh, after a bit. No, I don't think so. That's okay, said Piglet, and he came and sat beside his friend. What are you thinking? Asked Pooh. Nothing really, said Piglet, only I know what difficult days are like. I quite often don't feel like talking about it on my difficult day either. But goodness, continued Piglet, difficult days are so much easier when you know you've got someone there for you. And I'll always be there for you, Pooh. And as Pooh sat there working through in his head his difficult day, while the solid, reliable Piglet sat next to him quietly swinging his legs, he thought that his best friend had never been more right.
Time to sing again. I invite you to feel the stillness through the words of hymn 35 in our purple books. Please stand or sit as you prefer. Fans of Michael Rosen will know today's story may even have heard him read it. We're all going on a bear hunt, is the story, and life's hard, and somehow this story tells it how it sometimes is. We're all going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Ooh, grass, long wavy grass. Can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Swishy, 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 swashy, swishy, swishy. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Oh, a river, a deep, cold river. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We've got to go through it. Splish splosh, splish splosh, splish splosh. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Ooh, thick, oozy mud. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. Squelch, squelch, squelch. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. We're not scared. What a beautiful day. Oh, a forest, a big dark forest. We can't go through it, over it. We can't go under it. We've got to go through it. Scramble, scramble, trip, trip, stumble. We're going on a bear hunt. We're going to catch a big one. What a beautiful day. We're not scared. Oh, a snowman, a swirling, whirling snowstorm's here. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. We've got to go through it. Tiptoe, tiptoe. What's that? A shiny wet nose. Two big furry ears. Two big goggly eyes. It's a bear. Quick! Back through the cave, tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. Back through the snowstorm, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Back through the forest, stumble, stumble, trip, trip, trip. Back through the mud, squelch, squelch, squelch. Back through the river. Splish, splosh, splish, splosh. Back through the grass. Swishy, swishy, swishy. Get to the front door, open the door, up the stairs. Oh no, we forgot to shut the door. Back downstairs. Shut the back door. Walk back upstairs, into the bedroom, into bed, under the covers. I'm not going on a bear hunt again. Words of Michael Rosen. And so now words of Mary Oliver for our meditation. Wild geese. A change of pace. have some silence and then some music. And as we always say, the words are an offering, free for you to draw on and use the time to meditate in your own way. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Another reading.
Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
There are times in all of our lives when we need to find courage, when we are pounded so hard, physically, intellectually, emotionally, when it's only the resilience we can muster from the depths of our spirits that keeps us going and wrings that extra bit of strength that saves us from giving in. This week has been one of those times for me. Our soul deep group at Golders Green Unitarians gathered online on Tuesday evening, and the previous 2 days had been taxing, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I went to bed on Thursday at 8 o'clock for a cat nap and slept for 9 hours. I woke ready to face a new day. Still I rise, wrote Maya Angelou in her poem. I hadn't realized that Nelson Mandela chose it for his inauguration in 1994 after spending 27 years on Robben Island prison for his resistance to the South African apartheid government. Mandela spoke himself and wrote at length about the importance of maintaining dignity and strength in the face of overwhelming oppression. It was the perfect poem for such an occasion. It's the perfect poem for so many occasions, times in our own lives when we need just that extra injection of courage, that extra surge of energy to sustain us. Poems are often prayers, and this poem has become one of my prayers, which sustains me, and I know my friend Ronnie too, as we greet each other on WhatsApp. Still rising, she confirms with defiance against illness and a cocktail of treatments she is undergoing. As a token to celebrate Fergus's and my 9th wedding anniversary, she sent us a wooden happy wedding anniversary heart as a keepsake. I should have brought it with me. Below that message, happy wedding anniversary, was written 9 years, 108 months, 488 weeks, 3,285 days, 78,000 hours, 4,730,400 minutes, 283,824,000 seconds. Now, that's resilience. The carved wood has an image of 2 birds perched on a tree, the tree of life. The tree painted in a way so it looks as if it's precariously poised at an angle. It looks strong, but also that it could topple at any minute with a sudden gust of wind. And perhaps that's a metaphor for our lives, and that we can often, as individuals, as species, find ourselves standing on the edge of one precipice or another. There are personal uncertainties which can be the backdrop for our lives. There are political uncertainties, though this week we do get to choose. Uncertainties are present in the sustainability of our planet and whether our species will wake up in time to the dangers of the ecosystem that we all face. And yet, that small, fragile wooden heart shows us symbols of courage and hope. The 2 birds balancing on a branch and sustaining each other's spirits. To me, the image on this wooden heart is suggesting that the best sources of courage and resilience that we have to help us are those bonds that we make with each other. In these relationships, perhaps nurtured over many years, we find the strength to face what we must and to follow it through. So whatever choices we make this week in the privilege of that little booth, may we put aside all the noise and debate and challenge, and instead, as well as our photo ID, bring with us our Unitarian values dignity and worth, service to humanity, and the interconnected web of which we are all part. I've struggled more this week than I would have had I not had friends and family who cared about me. And it was their love and encouragement that kept me going. And maybe a little outrage too. Yes, outrage at unfairness and injustice. It's LGBTQ plus Pride Month this month, the 30th of June, the last day of Pride Month. And so there's been a fair amount of historic material on social media platforms reminding us of the days when Pride marches were protests, not celebrations. So much progress and so much more reaching out, connecting, facilitating, understanding, and education still to do. In the 1970s and 80s, Keith Gilley, a former minister at Golders Green Unitarians, championed dialogue between gay and straight people through Intergroup, a safe space to be who we are. It feels as if today's increasingly hostile climate for trans people, that we Unitarians could be the ones who step up as 21st century pioneers in building bridges of understanding where there seem to be so few. So today I pay tribute to my predecessor at Golders Green, Keith Gilley, who, judging from reading of our archives, needed courage and resilience in bucket loads to make the difference that he made to give shelter to those whom society then considered outcasts. Still, I rise. And what kept Keith going in pursuit of gay religious liberation? Those who believed in him. Some of the ladies at Golders Green, the Olive Thompsons and the Joyce Pearsons, who helped him fight his corner, even when some less progressive and enlightened elements of our then Unitarian General Assembly were not so sympathetic. So when courage is required, it helps if we have each other for mutual sustenance and strength. I chose Mary Oliver's poem Wild Geese today because it shows us how we can gain strength to carry on from being in and around nature. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again. Now, doesn't that make you feel that you are coming alive? Before we head home, rich or poor, whoever we are, we face the battering that life sometimes gives us. Which brings me back to Michael Rosen's story. If we can't go over it, we can't go under it, we've got to go through it. When he was alone and close to death with the severe effects of COVID, Michael did go through it. It took strength and courage to fight. And what sustained him? the love and care of family and friends, a connection to life through the power of story and the ability to tell stories, hope amid despair, sometimes, and a measure of luck too. May these be the qualities that sustain us all as we live and make the stories of our own lives in the days and the years to come. Amen. We're going to sing again, this time hymn 70 in our purple books. I wish I knew how. Please sing up as best you can. Announcements.
Thanks to Michael for leading our service today. Thanks to Ramona for tech hosting. Thanks to Charlotte for co-hosting and welcoming everyone online. Thanks to Juliet and Chloe for reading. Thanks to Holly and Andrew for playing for us today. Thanks to Pat and John for doing coffee and greeting. For those of you who are in person, please do stay for a cuppa after the service, served in the hall next door. If you're joining on Zoom, please do hang around for a chat with Charlotte. There are various activities going on during the week that you might be interested in. This Wednesday, we have our regular poetry group here at the church. Do have a word with Brian, over there. If you'd like to know more, and email him in advance with any poems you'd like to share. Sonia will be here as usual for her Nia dance class at lunchtime on Friday. You've got just a couple more weeks before Sonia goes on her summer break even, so join her while you can. We also have our regular Heart and Soul online contemplative spiritual gathering on Friday at 7 p.m, when we'll be exploring the theme of the weather. It's a great way to connect with the others on a deeper level. Please sign up with Jane if you want to get the Zoom link for that. Looking a bit further ahead, next week, the Better World Book Club will be reading Loving Our Own Bones by Rabbi Juliet. We've got a few copies of that in the church library if you'd like to borrow one. And Jane asked me to hold up a copy to show you all what it looks like. And even further ahead, a date for your diary, there will be another tea dance coming up on Sunday, 8th of September. Next Sunday, our Minister Jane will be back, and we're going to have a flower communion service. So please do bring along a flower if you can, so you can join in with this special Unitarian tradition. If you can't bring a flower, don't worry, we'll have spares. But it is nice if you can bring your own. And Hannah will be back with her regular community yoga session after next week's service. Details of all our various activities are printed on the back of Order of Service for you to take away, and also in the Friday email. Please do sign up for the mailing list if you haven't already. The congregation very much has a life beyond Sunday mornings. We encourage you to keep in touch, look out for each other, and do what you can to nurture supportive connections. I think that's everything. I'll hand back to Michael for our closing words.
Words to sustain our courage and resilience. Tao. Tao is a Chinese concept of the basis of things to exist and events to happen. Close no doors to Tao, to undo your translucent seeing. Live through the questions into an even deeper known unknown. Seek solitude, honouring your time to sit with the discombobulation that you find. Sacred texts abound, and God is unknowable, recognizable only in the perfections and imperfections of us all. Close no doors to more seeking of yet unknown answers. Meanwhile, be good to the world that feeds your soul. Amen.
Thank you.